We've got another great show again today, this Saturday morning. In a few minutes, we're going to be joined by Boylan center Nick Bauck. Nick had a great game last night. The Titans had a great game. I covered that game for the paper, Dave, and Boylan started out. They went up 10-2, looked like they were going to blow the Indians out, and then here comes Stanley Moore and the Indians. They came back, took the lead, and then in the second half, it looked again like Boylan was going to just put them away. They got up by double digits, and again, here came the Indians. And I tell you, it was just back and forth, and Boylan was close to suffering their first conference loss, but they pulled it out in overtime by 7. It was a great game.
Two great coaches, Steve Gores and Mike Miller, who've have the utmost respect for one another in the teams as well, and they do a great job. And anytime these two teams get together, it's going to be a tremendous game. And credit that I think that game went into overtime.
Yep.
I had gotten the call that it was tied, I believe, at 59, and the Boylan Titans pulled it out towards the end there. But yeah, it's always a great contest, Boylan and Hononegah.
Well, and to talk more about it, we are joined now on the phone lines by Boylan's Nick Bauck. Nick, good morning. Welcome to the Sports Huddle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good morning, Nick.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for getting up early with us this morning, especially after a big game last night. I didn't have a chance to talk to you after the game, but 15 points and 12 rebounds, and I asked Chris Miller after the game, I said, what is it about Nick? Every time you need a big rebound, he's right there. And he said, well, you know what? He's the man down low, and he's the one that makes it happen. Your thoughts on that pretty dramatic win last night? I thought it had a playoff intensity against Hononegah.
I'd say the same thing with the playoff intensity. Just it being our biggest rivalry with Hononegah, we had to come out and we had to win, and we got off to a fast start. And then they kicked in and, started beating us, and we just had our experience came in and we stayed poised, and we came back, and it was a really hard-fought game. But we made some key plays. Miller had a huge third quarter with those 4 threes, and hitting our free throws down the stretch, we just really came through, and it was a great win for us.
Nick, what's been some of the highlights of your career being at Boylan? What are some of the most memorable games that you've been involved with that really made an impact on you?
Well, my sophomore year, I dressed for varsity during their playoff run, and it was the opening sectional game at Jacobs where I think we got down by 16 or 19 points, and it was at Jacobs, and it just, most people would think it seemed hopeless, but our seniors fought back and ended up winning that game, and, it was so much fun to sit on the sidelines and be a part of that, but, you remember that 2 years later and say, okay, well, those guys were able to stay poised and, come back and not give up, so you kind of learn something from that. So we've had a couple of games like that this year with Auburn last week in Jefferson, and then last night with Hononegah.
We're talking to Nick Bauck. He is the center for Boylan. If you have a quick question for Nick, give us a call at 815-874-8255. And, Nick, your coach, Steve Gores, yesterday said to me after the game that, this last stretch here where you played Auburn, Jefferson, and Hononegah, he said, the other teams really felt the urgency that, it was a must-win situation for them. And he said, he didn't think that, his team felt the same urgency, that he's really kind of concerned that you guys have to, play at the same level, all the time, that you kind of are up and down. What are your thoughts on Coach Gore's comments? Is that something that, as a player on the team you're concerned about as well?
I would agree with that. I mean, we go into every game with the intentions of winning, of course, but sometimes we get off to our slow start and we don't anticipate the intensity that the other team's going to bring. So, like in the case of these last 3 games, we kind of cruised a little bit and then we let off the gas and it came back to bite us. So then our intensity kicks in that second half. So we just got to start playing with that intensity the whole game. That's our biggest problem. But, that's what these games are for. It teaches us that we got to bring that the whole time. So with the playoffs coming up, it's a great thing to learn.
Nick, talk a little bit about commitment. I mean, you've been in the program for a long time now, and the commitment to younger players in the middle school levels and, their dream of playing whatever high school that they're going to play. Talk about the commitment you've had to put into the sport of basketball and the time and the effort and what you did to get to where you are today.
Well, coming out of grade school, dream was to play Boylan basketball. I knew it was going to take a lot of work. So I did the summer camps every year, getting ready, played freshman level, and then sophomore year I was fortunate enough to get called up to varsity, and I played sophomore level basketball that year too, so I was doing double practices a day. I was doing the first shift to make the varsity better, then I was doing the second shift of my sophomore practice where me, Michael, Steve, and Kieran were the focus of the team. And then, that just really gave me a lot of experience, and got me ready for the program, and then junior year, doing all the work again, and now this year, it just feels like nothing. I've been doing this for 3 years now, and it's a lot of commitment. But with the way we've been playing right now, it's all worth it. It's a total payoff. This is what you work for. It's great.